But let's talk about why. Like, what is it about Bach? I have friends that don't really know Bach, and I was just lucky enough to be introduced to his music when I was a kid. I talked about it on a live stream here, recently. But every time I come back to it, I am just astounded. I know it's always there, and anytime I want to be inspired, this is what I go back to. Now, I mentioned this in my Bach video back then. If you haven't had a chance to watch, you really should. It's called like What Makes Bach Great. And I talked about a documentary that's on YouTube that's called A Passionate Life. That's fantastic. It's a great Bach documentary. And they talked about how Bach's whole family was from Eisenach, Germany, right in the middle of Germany. His whole family had been musicians for, that was the family business, was music. He came around, generations after his family started, being musicians that's what they did. But he was unique amongst them. He also suffered an incredible tragedy early in life. He lost both of his parents when he was 9 years old. Now, obviously, life was very difficult back then. So this would have been in 1794, because he was born in 1785. So 1685. So in 1694, he lost both of his parents. Now that is if you think of a 9-year-old losing both their parents in the same year, that is unimaginable. What it would do to your brain, But that can't explain a brain that can come up with these things. I'm going to play some music here. The thing about Bach's music and interpretations of his music that's written for all different keyboard instruments, except for the piano, right? All the instruments that were out at the time. But typically, Bach's music is performed on the piano. His keyboard music is, and obviously his orchestral music or chamber music is performed by both period groups that tune down a half step and by modern orchestras and chamber groups. So his music is performed in many different ways with many different interpretations, and there's a particular there's two series of 24 preludes and fugues, the well-tempered clavier. The first one was written in 1722, so Bach would have been 22 plus, I think it was 1722, and then 1742 was the second batch, book 2. So 22 and 15 is 37, is that right? Somebody will check me on that, but and the other one was when Bach was he died at 65, so this was 7 years before he died. He's in his 57 years old. He's younger than me. So these are monumental works, 24 pieces of unimaginable, just genius. And the cataloged works of Bach, you see this, that he has catalog numbers, that BWV, that there are over 1,100 of works that are cataloged, but he wrote, I'm sure, many, many more that have just been lost. And my first introductions into his music were through the Brandenburg Concertos. I talked about this a few weeks ago. But there's a particular, there are so many different interpretations, right? So I'm going to play you. I'm not sure if this stuff's going to get blocked or not, but I'm going to try it here. This is a Richter C sharp. Let's see here. This is a, geez, I don't know if this stuff's going to get blocked. Okay, I'm going to start with this. This is a C sharp major prelude from the second book of the Well-Tempered Clavier, which I think is absolutely beautiful. This is Richter playing it. Listen. Okay, so now what I love about this, I love his tone. It's a beautiful tone. What I don't, and I love the reverb on it. And this is Glenn Gould playing the same piece. I think I have Gould playing it here. Yes. This is Glenn Gould playing this exact same piece. You hear he does the rolls. Now that's beautiful too, but my favorite one is actually one that stylistically a lot of people would say, oh, that sounds more like Romantic era music, which is Daniel Barenboim's version of it, which I think is way more moody and beautiful. And he uses the pedal and it has more reverb. And I think it just brings the harmonies out and it sounds so modern. Listen to this. This is beautiful. Then what's this? Oh. Beautiful. Beautiful. Then da 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 da. Then that's how modern that is. Then oh, beautiful. Now, to me, that versus Glenn Gould's version or Richter's version, Richter's is kind of in the middle of those two. That just, it brings out the romanticism of it, right? Now, he makes it sound like it's a romantic, from the Romantic era, and it's beautiful, and it's done slowly, and it brings out all those incredible harmonies. But then if you get into the precision of a fugue, this is where Glenn Gould really shines. The C-sharp minor from this book 2. I'm playing these things from book 2. A lot of people just stick with book 1. To me, there's something about book 2 because it was written so late in his life. The fact that he was inspired to write this in his late 50s with a whole lifetime of knowledge behind it. Now, this is the C sharp minor fugue from book 2. This is Glenn Gould. Hopefully this video doesn't get blocked, but listen. Perfect. Wow. That is unbelievable. Wow, those chromatic lines. The precision, the every voice speaks so perfectly. It just blows my mind. But if you want to really have your mind blown, there's Andreas Schiff, pianist, has like all of Bach's piano works recorded. They're all on Spotify. There's a video of him playing the entire book 1 and 2 of the Well-Tempered Clavier, I believe from memory. It's on YouTube. It used to be on YouTube. It's ridiculous. Okay, this is him playing the same piece, right? Fugue in C sharp minor. Listen. Doesn't have the aggressiveness. It's more of a lyrical vibe. I mean, it doesn't even sound like the same piece, does it? I mean, it's really, it blows my mind that how beautiful that is and how different the interpretation is, right? This is a fugue that's in E major. This is from book 1. This is also Schiff. Okay, now, this is from the same session. Listen, this is 20 years before this book 1. Okay, so this is the E major fugue from book 1 of the Well-Tempered Clavier. And it sounds like a younger composer composing this. Okay, this is somebody 27. This is so 37 years old versus 57. Listen to this. Oh my God. Listen how every voice enters, how it's stated so clearly. Okay, the precision, the definition of each voice when it enters and plays the theme. Wow. Okay, so the brain that can hold all of this music in it, the genius. Okay, so these pianists have learned these things. Glenn Gould, he can play all these pieces from memory. Okay, Andreas Schiff, same thing. They can play these pieces from memory, all of them. The hundreds of thousands of moves, and not just play them, but play them so musically with the independence of the lines and every line speaking perfectly and blending together. And then there's the guy that came up with them, right? Then there's Bach. He wrote all this stuff. These guys are just playing what he wrote, and they practiced for a lifetime to do this stuff. Granted, they learn most of this repertoire by the time they're 30 years old or late mid-20s, probably. They've learned all this stuff. But he wrote this. I mean, it's really mind-boggling to think that there's a person that lived 300 years ago, 350 years ago, that could write things like this, right?